Welcome, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good evening, a good day so far. My name is Shauna Lee, and I am your MC tonight for YouthBuild USA's 16th annual and second virtual Building Better Together, a deeper dive into YouthBuild, also known as BBT. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Shauna Lee, and I'm YouthBuild USA's Chief People and Culture Officer. And I'm so excited to welcome you to this event. I've been a part of this YouthBuild family for over a decade, and I'm filled with gratitude to have been a part of this movement for so long. Seeing all the young people and the impact that we have on their lives brings me so much joy. And before we get started with tonight's event, I just want to go over some Zoom basics. We will be recording this event just in case you get kicked off or disconnected from the Zoom, or maybe you think of some other people that will want to see this later. We plan to share the recording online. And we want to encourage everyone to use the chat feature because we want to show some love to our panelists and our YouthBuild staff and our board members tonight. So drop it in the chat and we'll do our best to make sure they receive your messages. Now, BBT is one of my favorite events of the year. And most years, this has been a local Boston event. And while we've all faced so many challenges related to the pandemic, this shift to virtual allows us to engage a broader audience and celebrate and embrace YouthBuild programs from across the country. Tonight, we are excited to showcase two programs, one in Oregon, Heart of Oregon YouthBuild, and one in Illinois, YouthBuild McLean County. I'm sure most of you in the audience have heard about YouthBuild programs, but tonight, we're here to explain why our programs are so impactful. We're interested in taking a deeper dive into YouthBuild and really exploring the elements that make these programs life-changing. But before we hear from these two amazing programs, I'd like to take advantage of the fact that all of you guys are here. We have so many partners and sponsors, program staff, alumni, families, and friends present tonight. Thank you all so much for joining. And we've compiled a small sample of the amazing work that's taking place throughout the YouthBuild network over this year. And I'd like to share a few. So let's dive right in. Over the summer, YouthBuild USA was awarded the U.S. Department of Labor's Technical Assistance and Coaching Contract to support federal YouthBuild grantees around the country. YouthBuild USA has led this work for over 25 years, and we are proud to partner with our federal government to improve YouthBuild programs and outcomes across the country. And we look forward to doing so for the next 5 years. Now, we are global, so outside the US, we launched a partnership with Trevor Noah, and that's right, the Trevor Noah, and the Trevor Noah Foundation is supporting our efforts in South Africa. The foundation, in partnership with YouthBuild South Africa, is working on an infrastructure project to address educational needs while supporting and developing the skills of unemployed youth. And recently, EQ Office, one of our national partners, supported Compton YouthBuild's grand reopening. The new space, sponsored and supported by EQ Office, looks amazing. It will be a great place for YouthBuild students in LA to learn and lead, and I cannot wait to go visit. Now, whether you're new to YouthBuild or have seen our network grow over nearly 5 decades, as a reminder, YouthBuild programs emphasize 5 core elements of the model. We have education, we have construction and other career pathways, we have leadership development, support services, and of course, I left the best for last, alumni success, one of my favorites, and definitely on display tonight. And as such, YouthBuild students are supported in a holistic way, and as our mission outlines, with love and respect, we partner with Opportunity Youth to build the skill sets and the mindsets that lead to lifelong learning, livelihood, and leadership. And wherever you engage YouthBuild, we hope you also experience our core values of love, accountability, collaboration, diversity, and of course, leadership. We hope you can just get a taste of these elements and values during tonight's panel. Now, before we get things started, I do have to thank our sponsors. And as I've said earlier, we cannot do this one alone. Tonight, we're especially grateful for our event sponsors, many of which have been supporting us every single year. Thank you to all our sponsors, old and new, and especially those that made tonight possible. Homesite Insurance, part of American Family Insurance, Liberty Mutual Insurance, and Boston Private. And thank you to tonight's hosts, Wingate Companies. If we were all together, I know there'd be a round of applause to each of you. As our event title says, thanks to you, we can build better together. And now, I have the opportunity to pass things over to one of my favorite people in this movement, Cliff Johnson. Cliff has been on the board of directors at YouthBuild USA since the early 90s and has been a part of the YouthBuild movement for over 30 years. We are so lucky to have him. He's passionate about helping to improve outcomes for children, youth, and families in their communities. And Cliff is a true champion to the young people we serve. So passing it over to you, Cliff, so you can kick off tonight's conversation.
Thank you so much, Shauna Lee. It's a great pleasure to be able to be part of this wonderful event, and especially fun to be able to share the virtual stage with you after all these years that we've had a chance to work together. So I want to thank you personally for all your commitment and dedication and hard work to this YouthBuild movement. It's been incredible to watch.
Thank you, Cliff.
It has been one of the great joys of my life to be able to be involved with YouthBuild and the YouthBuild movement almost since the very beginning, from its very earliest days, and to watch the remarkable growth and development that's occurred for decades, of course, under the visionary leadership of our beloved founder, Dorothy Stoneman, and for the last 5 years under the strategic leadership of our current CEO and Executive Director, John Valverde. We're just so blessed to have this strong leadership at the helm and to have had the driving force that has taken YouthBuild from an idea and a program in East Harlem to a national and an international movement with sites, hundreds and hundreds of sites across the country and now increasingly across the globe. So it's been a great delight, a lot to celebrate, and we hope to help tell part of that story this evening by sharing with you some conversation with leaders, both new graduates and also directors from 2 of the STAR programs in the network. So I'm going to invite our panelists to do a quick self-introduction, just a name, program, year of graduation, and your current professional role. And if we can start with the Heart of Oregon Corps, and let me pass it to Abby to kick us off.
Hi, I'm Abby Hartung, and my program I'm in, located in Sisters, and I am the full-time construction assistant trainer, and I graduated in 2018. And
what are you up to now, Abby?
I am currently the full-time with YouthBuild. I am on the construction site, and I'm there to provide support and assistance to staff.
That's great. And Abby, you're coming in and out for us a little bit. So when we come back to you, just see if you can do something with your mic there. Laura, can we turn to you?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Wonderful to be here. My name is Laura Handy. I serve as the Executive Director at Heart of Oregon Corps in Central Oregon. So Redmond, Madras, Bend, Prineville, Sisters in the middle of Oregon. And I am not a YouthBuild graduate, but I am fortunate to be a YouthBuild USA Directors Fellows graduate, which was a critical part of my critical path in my career as well. And I'm just honored to be here and share our experiences and support Abby in sharing hers.
Thank you so much to both of you for being here. And now let's turn to YouthBuild McLean County and start with Summer.
My name is Summer. I am Alumni Engagement and Development Programs Assistant at YouthBuild McLean County. My graduation year is actually 21. Just graduated August. And then I am also working as the Vista for AmeriCorps here in McLean County as well.
Thank you, Laura. Alicia? And Alicia, I think you're still muted. So.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Good. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Leonard. I am the Development Director at YouthBuild McLean County. But first and foremost, I am a YouthBuild graduate from 1997.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you could all be with us. So let's jump in. I thought we would start by turning the clock back and to have you think about the time when you were first walking through the door at YouthBuild and to think about what it was that you were looking for when you were coming to YouthBuild for the first time. I have an answer to that question for myself. I was working at the Children's Defense Fund in the late 1980s, and I was searching for effective youth employment programs and trying to find programs that had strong core elements and that had the potential to be replicated nationally. And somehow I had the good fortune to hear about Dorothy Stoneman's work in East Harlem and to go up to East Harlem to see it. And I found very quickly what I was looking for. It was an exciting aha moment for me and gave me the opportunity to be part of Dorothy's effort to build a national movement and to try and build the basis for federal funding for the YouthBuild programs that now exist across the country. So that's what I was looking for. Let's turn to our new graduates, our younger graduates, and invite their thoughts on what you were hoping to find when you walked through the door at YouthBuild.
Go ahead, Summer. This is my mentee right here.
Honestly, I was really only looking for my diploma. I wasn't really expecting to actually find a family here at YouthBuild, but it is definitely what I ended up unexpectedly finding.
That's great. Abby, do you remember what was on your mind when you were finding YouthBuild?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit better. Hopefully I fixed my end. When I came into YouthBuild, I didn't quite know what I was expecting to get out of it, just because I had been just told so many things in public school, that I wasn't going to be able to finish high school in any setting. And so when I came to YouthBuild, I heard so many success stories of people finishing and just being able to get their GED or their high school diploma. And so it was almost like a kind of like a fairy tale or like a dream come true. I hope that doesn't sound too cliche, but having somebody tell me it's like, you got this, you can get your high school diploma. I didn't quite see it at first, but slowly but surely I ended up getting to it. Like in the beginning, couldn't quite see the end goal, but it was shocking when I finally got there.
That's amazing. And obviously both of you, Summer and Abby, you stuck it out, stuck with it, made it through. Do you remember what the moment was when you knew you were in the right place, that you knew that YouthBuild was the right thing for you at that point in your life? Abby?
Oh, I think that moment when that clicked in for me, when I felt like I was in the right place, where I was hoping to be, was when I was surrounded just by just a director of YouthBuild, Kara, and all the staff and the advocates, and you know, quoting what on Summer had mentioned, it's like, it really was a family. Like, I can't express that enough. It's just having these just group of complete strangers tell you that, you know, we care about you and we love where you want to go. And here's where we can help you to be. I think that was when it clicked for me, was like, okay, these people care about me. They want me to finish where, you know, I'm planning on going. And I think that's when it was like, it was set in. It's like, this is where I need to be and I need to finish it.
Mine is honestly kind of the same situation. It honestly clicked for me when mine and Alicia's relationship took that next curve to being more of like kind of like a mom and daughter type situation. It definitely reinstated that YouthBuild is where I belong.
And Alicia, you probably have two answers to this question. One, a little bit farther back in time about what you were looking for initially as a student, as a graduate, but then also obviously what has kept you in YouthBuild as a director.
Yeah. When I came into the program, I had my GED already, but that was it. And I was a teenage mom, and I had no positive adults in my life to guide me. I knew that I did not want to work in retail and just these jobs, but I didn't know what. I was looking for a family. And just so ironically enough, Suzanne Fitzgerald, who founded this program, was actually my mentor when I was in the Girl Scouts. So we reconnected, and she stayed on my heels. She's actually on my heels now. She's probably texting me. And she opened a lot of doors for me. But she also gave me that very intentional, strategic support. And she loved me through every single thing. Just because I was a YouthBuild student and a YouthBuild graduate, my mistake making did not stop. And she embraced me anyway. And then after graduation, bounced around a little bit, finally gave in to the concept of college because I had a mind for business. But I needed a degree to get in those doors that Suzanne had been trying to open for me for so long. So went to college. AmeriCorps paid for my first year, got my undergrad, started working at my YouthBuild program, completed 2 master's degrees since. While I've been working at my YouthBuild program, what keeps me here is Summer. What keeps me here is Abby. The light that comes on in a young person's eyes, the way that their head lifts from being down like this when you talk to them to looking at you completely in the face. I was that young person. And I know the power of this program because I feel it with them every day. They are my inspiration. I get up happy. I don't know how many people in the world can say they get up happy and ready to run out the door and do their jobs. And I do, because every day I get to see young people that had no hope have hope. So I'll probably be buried out in our back lawn, honestly.
Well, that's an incredible gift for sure, to love your work. Laura, you came through a different door. You came through the director's door in your entry to YouthBuild. What were you looking for at that point, and what have you found?
Yeah, thanks, Cliff. I would say, in addition to what Alicia just spoke to of that, like, it's Abby, it's Summer. I think that, you know, when I began at Heart of Oregon Corps, we did not have a YouthBuild program. And we received a YouthBuild grant during the Great Recession with the extra stimulus money, and in 2009. And I was really intrigued and excited about it because it was such a more comprehensive model than what we were already running as a conservation corps. And I knew our young people needed more. You know, the work experience and the hands-on physical products are so important to that, like, real experience, but there's so much more. And I saw that right away in YouthBuild as we honestly utilized YouthBuild USA's technical assistance to figure out, as a small organization, how to run a YouthBuild program. And I really remember walking through the doors of some of those first national and regional YouthBuild gatherings as a young program director, and opening up my eyes, and just the love you even see in the room among directors, and saying, oh, here, oh, yes, here are my people. Here is the type of people that can support youth in a holistic and successful way. And wow, we're not just individual programs trying to make it work, but we're a community and a movement. And that was an amazing part of experiencing YouthBuild as a program director back in 2009.
Those peer connections and that peer support is such an amazing part of the experience, I know, for directors and also for students and graduates through the Alumni Network and the COIL, the Council of Young Leaders, et cetera. Well, Laura, staying with you for a second, you talked about seeing the comprehensive nature of YouthBuild and how it answered more of the questions that you were struggling with, right? What do you think of as the biggest difference maker in the YouthBuild model and the YouthBuild program? And I intend to ask Abby and Summer this question from their perspective too, but from your director's chair, what do you think the big difference maker is?
I think it's a combination of that, the concepts of support and relationship and love are concepts that you can talk about and express and have it be part of the solution. But also the comprehensiveness of the model, and that it isn't, one piece here, one piece here, one piece here, but truly one whole piece. The fact that follow-up services and alumni services and graduate services are a required and essential piece of the model, not an afterthought afterwards. The fact that counseling and case management and personal development and leadership, especially, that community service, social justice, personal leadership really takes the program to a different level than a lot of other youth skill training, workforce education, a lot of other really great programs, but those combination of things really makes the difference.
Alicia, I see your head nodding at various points. Would you add to that in terms of what you see as the difference maker?
Youth voice.
Mm-hmm.
There is no hierarchy, not in McLean County. Although we have staff and we have students, my voice is taken as seriously as Summer's voice. We can sit down in our director's office, Miss Tracy, and if Summer has an idea that goes against an idea that I have, it's not, oh, she's a young person. Our young people are valued in a way that young people are not valued anywhere in the world. We don't do the dog and pony show. Our young people are a part of every single thing we do, from curriculum review to should we add a healthcare site? We ended up adding a healthcare site because that's what our young people wanted. Our young people asked us for a mental health counselor. Tracy and I got on the grind and we found money to get a full-time mental health counselor. Our young people's voice is valued in a way that no one values their voice. And the hierarchy concept that does not exist here is absolutely the difference.
Abby and Summer, did you have a favorite part of YouthBuild as you were going through it? And does that connect to this conversation about what made the biggest difference for you?
Honestly, I can't really pick a favorite because I enjoyed every minute of it. There's obviously the few top ones, just being with Alicia and knowing that my word is valued. It shows that YouthBuild is not like traditional high schools. It is its own type of high school, and knowing that if I were at normal community, my word would not have been taken because I was a student. Here in McLean County at YouthBuild, as a student, you are treated as an adult. You make a mistake, you are talked to like an adult. They don't treat you like you're the 16, 17, 18-year-old kid that you are, and that sat different with me because throughout my high school career, I was considered a child. I was told I was immature, and getting to YouthBuild, I found out that it was my other teachers that were actually immature, not being able to listen to a student telling them that something doesn't work for me. So then when I got to YouthBuild, I explained to my teachers, like, oh, I have so and so, like, I can't see from a certain distance. And all of my teachers in Normal West and Normal Community were just like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Like, go see a doctor. YouthBuild is, okay, what do you want to do? How can we fix that? So the big difference is, like I said, being heard, knowing that your word is going to be listened to and not taken for granted.
And I have the sense that we could have a very long conversation about the difference between a typical high school and a typical YouthBuild program in terms of how that feels. Abby, what are you thinking?
Honestly, like, so the question for like the difference between public school and YouthBuild, I think my answer to that falls under Summers as well. It's like I went from just being treated like, I was stupid because I didn't, get something right, or I couldn't follow along with the whole classroom. And it was just about almost every experience for me in public school that I, if I wasn't, with the class, then I was either, grouped with the kids who actually didn't want to learn, or, who were all like constantly getting in trouble. But with YouthBuild, you're treated and you're valued with just honesty and care and love. And then, having people tell you that you're smart and that you're not what people in your past said about you, and that you can do something when you take that first step. And so that difference it's incredible looking at how public school is so similar. And I've heard it almost the exact same. It doesn't matter where you go. It seems public school is always the same, but YouthBuild is it's just a beautiful community of people who just generally want to see you succeed and not make you feel like you can't do something.
One of the other key distinguishing features I think about when I think about YouthBuild programs across the country and the model as it's evolved is the recognition that with all the leadership development work and all of the efforts to help you find yourself through the YouthBuild program, that it's also critically important to leave with tools, to leave with whether it's a credential or skills or something that will give you a leg up as you continue your journey in life. For the two of you in your, as recent graduates, what feels like the most important tool that you walked away with?
Go ahead.
I was going to say Abby can go ahead. I went first last time.
Okay.
Great.
I think the most important tool that I walked away with leaving YouthBuild was just a better profound respect for myself and others, and also just not taking life for granted and not moving too fast when there's something in front of me that has a lot of meaning and value, and also just being humble with each and every day, because with YouthBuild, every day is different and it's a very flexible schedule, and just things to take in every day, just kind of being as humble. I think I take a lot of to stay down to earth from I feel like before you start off moving fast in life and didn't value cherish things as much as ever.
Sorry, Abby, would you say that last piece one more time? We just lost you there a bit.
Oh, sorry about that. I think I cherish more tiny like things in life. I think that with how I had left YouthBuild, before YouthBuild, I wasn't cherishing like more meaningful things in life. And with YouthBuild, before after YouthBuild, I take those with me. I basically, I value life more after YouthBuild.
Wow.
So-
Thank you for that, Abby. Summer.
My whole thing is, first thing I definitely treat as a tool is taking criticism. When I first arrived at YouthBuild, there was talk of dual credit courses being entered into the curriculum here in YBMC. My first paper was returned with basically a bunch of red pen written all over it, and I did not like it. I've always excelled in English, and it kind of got to my head a little bit, just telling me, oh, there's nothing wrong, like you're doing everything right, you're perfect, like that kind of thing. And well, Alicia told me different. Sweetly, of course. But at that point, I was just like, it's criticism. That's all it really is. Like, she's not doing it to be rude or mean. Like, she's being helpful. And that got to the point. I was like, okay, just step back, take a minute, read it a different way instead of just like going head on whatever you want to say. And I was just a little upset, honestly, when it was first returned to me. Just a little bit.
Takes a little getting used to, right?
Yes, definitely. And then honestly, the other tools I would say, I have gone away from YouthBuild with 14 different certificates, 2 of them being two dual credit college course certificates as well, plus my high school diploma, of course. And being able to, yes, humbly brag.
For sure.
And just know that I completed what was in my head and what everyone was telling me that I would never complete.
What else did you leave with, Summer?
I also left with my CNA license that I've been putting to work these last few weeks.
Wonderful. Alicia, I can tell you're jumping into this conversation, right? You've thought about tools and what you're trying to give to the students in your program.
Yes, absolutely. But just to clarify, because we know in YouthBuild, we don't use red pens because we know what it does, education trauma. It was on Zoom and it was feedback through the chat. So
Duly noted.
the tools that I want every young person to leave with, that Suzanne ingrained in me, is that you have to deal with life on life's terms. But you situate yourself through education, work skills, your professional board of directors, which is your network, right? So that when life does smack you in the face, you have 10 other opportunities. And that's what we do here at YouthBuild, but my young people are connected with so many community partners. Today, we just met with a massive siding and construction company that's going to hire our students. Yeah, Summer, you're a part of this. That's going to hire our students. Tracy, I know you're on there. You don't know this yet, but is going to hire our students over breaks at $14 an hour. Just over breaks until they get their diploma, because I demanded that. But I want them to know that they have to be ready to step to the plate, and you can't step to the plate with nothing, right? We all have trauma. If you're a YouthBuild graduate, you have trauma, right? But we cannot sit on that trauma. What we need to do is use that trauma to motivate us to take down the door of that boardroom that we have been blocked from for so long. And we make sure that they have those opportunities and those tools in McLean County.
Laura, how do you think about tools and credentials and all the stuff that folks take with them when they graduate?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the things we can put on a resume and point to, and the certificates, the degrees, the diplomas, the classes, the hard skills of being able to not just physically do a task, but work with a team to do the task, all those things. And then also that thing that you can't quite put down on a resume that Abby spoke to, of valuing oneself, valuing what's important in your life, the outlook that Alicia and Summer were talking about. It's a multifaceted toolbox. It's not just one thing or another, which of course just goes back to the YouthBuild model.
Yes. So let me shift gears a little bit. I was staying with the two of you as directors for a minute, because running a YouthBuild program is a really challenging thing to do. Constantly shifting mix of funding and funding sources. You're trying to hit lots of different metrics and outcomes and requirements. It's quite the juggling act, right? What do you find most challenging right now about your job and your leadership role in your local YouthBuild program?
I can go. So I'm the development director and Tracy Polson is our executive director, and her and I tag team with funding. Funding is always a challenge, right? For nonprofits. One of the areas, and I'm so glad that, this is focused on alumni. We're a high school. We have 2 high schools underneath YouthBuild McLean County. And we can have our young people for 4 years. The average is about 18 to 20 months. But you can't untangle 16 years of learned behavior in that time. So when they get their diploma, we're doing everything that we can while they're in program to prepare them to step outside. Having a significant increase in funding to support alumni services, because the average student that didn't come to YouthBuild, they have parents that are supporting them through their first career. Our young people have us, right? So that's always a challenge. And Tracy and I get as creative as possible because these young people need to be served. Our graduates need to be served. I find a way. We have so many graduates working here right now funded by other programs. Like, I figured it out. But also the stigma. In our area, at least, YouthBuild McLean County, people don't know what we are because we're a nonprofit, we're a high school, we build houses, we have a healthcare program, we have an IT program, we have mentoring, it's insanely multi-layered. But the one thing that people think, because they don't understand, is that we're the bad kids school. And our kids aren't bad. For one, they're not kids because they've lived more life in their 16 years than most adults could handle. And that is something that that is my 2022 goal. I'm going to change that stigma so that everyone in McLean County knows what YouthBuild brings to the table here in McLean County. We are going to be the go-to school. You don't have to wait until you drop out or you're on the verge of dropping out or you're homeless or you had a baby to come to YouthBuild. You're going to want to come. And a lot of students in our area drop out of traditional school systems to come here because they've heard about all the caring adults. They've heard that Mr. Kev, our principal education director, will play pool with you. He'll teach you math through pool. They've heard about all of those things, but it's in pockets. And I am going to make sure that the masses hear about it. But that's a challenge.
Thank you, Alicia. Laura, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges, of course. Stringing together rapidly shifting funding dynamics is always one of them. I think another one that's a real tension in operating a really quality program is the tension between staying really youth-centered and centering youth voice and seeing through what the young person needs from their lens, and also meeting the requirements of private and public funders of what they think should be a measure of success versus what a young person is telling you is what's most important for success for them, and supporting and training staff in navigating that. and both, operating a quality program through both lenses. It needs constant attention, and it's not a problem that will ever be solved, I don't think. But it's something that takes a lot of dedication from staff and a lot of skill, honestly. Obviously, the past 2 years with the pandemic, there's been many different types of pandemic related challenges. And I think navigating partnerships becomes even more challenging during those pandemic related challenges as well, to navigate in that space where different entities are all approaching things a little differently right now. There's never a lack of to-do list to keep a quality YouthBuild program running.
And Laura, I'm glad you mentioned the pandemic. It's been an incredibly difficult 20 months and counting. You went virtual for a while. What did it force you to do?
We, had a sudden shutdown like most places. Our teachers and staff innovated quite quickly to switch to virtual, driving tablets and laptops and hotspots to houses, trying to resolve connectivity issues in the rural areas of Central Oregon was a special challenge in our area. We actually worked with a couple different conservation corps around the country to write some pretty comprehensive COVID management procedures, and we're able to reopen in person with some really strict changes to how we were operating in July of 2020, which one of the reasons we did that so quickly is what we were hearing directly from our youth, of that we need some at least in-person connection to continue to thrive in this program. And we've been navigating both, funding interruptions, whether it's canceling fundraisers or that sort of thing. Also trying to balance what we need to do as an employer versus what the school district's partners think we should be doing. And then just operating a safe program, the culture of safety and care. And that's really where we grounded our pandemic protocols, is in that we all need to care for one another, and all the things that we do show that care for each other, whether it's distancing or masking or sanitizing or health checks or any of those things.
Alicia, did you have similar experiences there in McLean County?
Actually, we didn't. Our school, because we're a high school, and the population of young people that we serve, sometimes they're at home because they had a baby, right? Or they're on an ankle bracelet. So we've had our curriculum online for about 5 years.
I see.
In the Google Classroom. So our young people were used to that. It took us about a week. We closed right before spring break. But we never shut down. We got permission from Illinois State Board of Education when the schools were able to open back up. And because our building is 125,000 square feet, we could easily social distance. So summer was actually on the front page of the Panagraph in January of 2020, highlighting our healthcare lab with our healthcare instructor, Ms. Faye. We didn't skip a beat. We had to make some adjustments. We were doing drop-off projects, so construction, we had to make some modifications to what we were doing in AmeriCorps. We did a lot of drop-off things for our service component and a lot of virtual things. So our young people on the service side, we have a partnership with one of the local nonprofit nursing homes in order to keep our healthcare student service going. They were writing letters and doing chronologies of seniors' lives and making them flower pots and things and dropping them off. But we really didn't skip a beat. And actually, we're still using Zoom. We've been fully back in person since the summer. But we still use Zoom. We have a young lady right now who's out. She had her baby, but she's still doing her work. And the teachers are still meeting with her while she's holding her son. Because we have to accommodate our young people where they are, regardless, pandemic or not. And we have to be flexible. Some of them have to work full-time jobs because they have full-time responsibilities. Like Summer, she came in living in her own apartment, having full-time rent, having full-time light bill, having full-time car expenses. So we flexed with her schedule. And we were able to do that through Zoom, and we keep it. Although we're back in person full time, some of our young people need that. Even some of our young people, if they were sick, they're at home sick, but they're still logging on and doing their work, and we can monitor it.
Alicia, and your comments just remind me of the enormous diversity across the YouthBuild network, diversity in locations and communities and urban programs, rural programs, Midwest, West Coast, East Coast. There's just such variation. John Valverde often reminds us as our CEO that when you've seen one YouthBuild program, you've seen one YouthBuild program. And there's so many common threads, but also so many unique aspects. And when you pull back even farther and think about the international work that YouthBuild is doing and how a program looks in South Africa or in Haiti or in Mexico, the diversity even gets far greater.
Can I add something really fast?
Please, yes,
about the pandemic? So I'm not a tech person. Summer can attest to that. I was a little apprehensive to learn new technology, but guess who taught me? Summer, Lou, my young people taught me how to use Zoom. My young people taught me what a GroupMe was. They taught me how to use Google Slides. I didn't know how to do any of that. So that's, again, here I am 44 with 2 master's degrees, and these are 18, 19, 20-year-olds who taught me something that has now become a skill that I use in my actual work.
Yes.
So the power of youth voice.
Yes,
Actually.
kudos to them, absolutely. So I can't believe how quickly our time here has gone. I want to wrap up with a forward-looking endnote to our conversation. And talk for a few minutes about hopes and aspirations, about what your dreams are these days, what you think might be next for you, where you're hoping to go, where you're hoping to head, and to hear from our recent graduates first on that subject, and then to ask our 2 directors to close us out.
I will go ahead and start. I have the plan, not dream, because it is going to come true.
It's happening.
My plan is to become a pediatric nurse. And at the moment, I am working at McLean County Nursing Home and as a CNA, as well as continuing as a full-time student and working as a Vista with Miss Alicia at YouthBuild. That's really the main thing I am focusing on, is just doing it.
And sleeping 2 hours a night, right?
Yeah.
Because you need at least 2 hours a night of sleep.
Yep.
Abby, what are you thinking about these days? Where are you hoping to head?
Well, if I could, I would do everything that my, heart desires. I've gone, I think, over the years where my dreams have thought, I've thought about everything to, being a police officer to, being a fashion designer, just basically all of the above. If I could be all of them, I would. But I think where my heart really lies is I'm definitely stuck in between of wanting to go to college. And because of all my terms that I've done with Heart of Oregon and YouthBuild, that is a possibility, and that tool is there for me. So it's very, very exciting. So I want to go to college, and I want to pursue to be a professional photographer. And also I'm really wanting to take part in being a counselor and either helping kids or just generally helping people. I think that's really where my heart lies, of just being there for others, and then also having that passion of I've always loved photography.
Thanks to both of you for being willing to share that with us. Laura, how are you thinking about the future, about where you're hoping to go?
Yeah, I just have to slip in that it's been awesome to see Abby as an assistant construction trainer, AmeriCorps member, training our current youth on the work sites. And Abby, you're right on with helping others, because it's so in your heart. Heart of Oregon Corps right now, we are actually embarking on a new capital campaign project to construct a dream hub facility where our young people can thrive. We've grown fairly quickly in 20 years, and we still have just a patchwork of borrowed and begged facilities all across the region, and we're really excited. I really want to, along with kind of a traditional capital campaign steering committee, I want to form an alumni steering committee for that project. So the building design, the spaces, the amenities, the partnerships all have our young people's fingerprints all over them of what that space should look like. So we've already started that process. We need to formalize it. We got a lot of input. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about the growth and partnerships that will bring, and the legacy that will leave for, you know, years more of opportunities for more young people in our area.
Exciting. Alicia.
Oh yeah, Summer can help me with this. So we are actually right now, we have a campaign for our career and post-secondary and alumni success programs. We actually knocked some walls down in our space and repurposed them, and we have a career post-secondary and alumni services center. That is awesome. Our young people can get any service they need. Our alumni can get any service they need. Summer is a part of that. She helped design it. 2 other graduates were the ones that knocked the walls down. They picked the paint, they picked the tile, but definitely continuously pursuing funding and opportunities. We might be reaching out to our AmeriCorps person in a couple of weeks to let them know that some local major company wants to fund a culinary and hospitality program for our students here. But always looking for those opportunities to continue to support our young people through the career and post-secondary and alumni centers. Because once in YouthBuild, always in YouthBuild, that means they need a place to go.
Wow. Can't wait for each of you to see what the next chapter brings. And it's been, I'm so sad actually that we're at time here, but I think all of the audience that's with us today for this BBT event can see so clearly how each of you in your own ways are strong, dynamic leaders who have already taken bold strides to bring you where you are, your programs where you are, and the sky's the limit going forward. So thank you so much, each of you, Abby, Summer, Alicia, Laura, for your time, for your prep work to make this happen. Just delighted we could do this. And let me hand the podium back to Shauna Lee.
Listen, we could have this conversation for hours, like Cliff
Yes.
said. And the social worker in me was in the back like, oh yes, keep talking about peer support. Yes, talk about thriving and the conditions and the culture. Like, this conversation brought me so much joy because, Alicia, you named the trauma that our young people bring. But what I see across YouthBuild programs, you know, in Oregon and McLean County, is that you guys aren't afraid to reveal that and heal from it. And then also have these dreams and aspirations. So thank you guys so much. Cliff, Alicia, Summer, Abby, you guys are making us so proud. And we cannot wait to see where you end up next, because those dreams, like Summer said, are plans and they are possible, right? And so as we conclude our event, I would love for you guys to just continue to drop some love in the chat so we can make sure that we can lift it up and give it to our panelists, right? And I think I just want to say thank you all for joining us, right? We appreciate you taking the time out of your day, especially during this busy holiday season, to hear from our amazing young leaders and program staff. Thank you for believing in our young people, and most importantly, supporting our YouthBuild programs. Because as you heard, it's not an easy job, but thank you, Alicia, and Laura, for showing up, because thousands of young people need your support. And the young adults around the world, we can't support them without your help, right? So please consider donating today. We're gonna drop a link in the chat, because your donation can help us to continue to advocate on behalf of YouthBuild programs. It helps us convene young leaders and connect young people from around the world. I wanna give a shout out to Alexis, Evelyn, I saw you guys in the chat, alumni that continue to come back and help us create opportunities for others, right? Your donation will help us prepare young people for sustainability through financial training and professional development. And your donation will continue to help us partner with national and regional companies to train or to hire students around the world. Follow us on social media, go check out our new website, youthbuild.org, and I hope when it's safe to do so, you'll come visit us at our new global headquarters in Roxbury, or maybe I'll see you at a local program across the world in the new year, right? So I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight's virtual panel. Zoom allows us to do this, and we'll probably do more, but we're also looking forward to bringing these conversations to you in person. So thank you again to tonight's event sponsors, Boston Private, Homesite Insurance, Liberty Mutual, and our host, Wingate Companies. Thank you all for standing with us and with YouthBuild programs and students around the world. I hope you have a great night and a happy holidays, and most importantly, an amazing new year, and please stay safe. We'll see you next time. Thanks, y'all.